Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Kristi Shive, and today we're visiting with Dr. Paul Norrod. He's an extension specialist for the University of Kentucky. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Kristi.
Paul, today you are back to continue our conversation on trauma. Paul, can you define trauma again for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Trauma is essentially our mental, emotional, and physiological response to a physically life-threatening event or an emotionally painful event that we're unable to cope with, like from a natural disaster, loss of a loved one, or even going through a motor vehicle accident.
And last time you were with us, Paul, you discussed how not everyone deals with trauma, or they may not face that trauma. They may deal with it differently, those difficult circumstances. But today you are going to talk to us about how we can help ourselves deal with that trauma if we are facing that.
Yes, that's a great question, Kristi, and a very important topic. When persons in a community experience trauma, there are just a few primary things to focus on. First, we just need to focus on our basic needs. Those basic needs are just food, shelter, clothing, and housing. I know that may sound simplistic, but those basic needs are important. And then focusing on those basic needs also can help us regain a sense of normalcy, a sense of routine. Routine's important, and restoring routine's important when people have experienced trauma because it helps ground our nervous system and our brain back in the normalcy of life. And so that may be just eating at the same time during the day and trying to go to sleep at the same time during the day, or just texting a friend or reaching out to someone at the same time during the day. And that routine can actually help activate our calming system and help mitigate or buffer some of our physiological and neurological responses to the trauma.
Now, how might we help someone else deal with a traumatic experience?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kristi. And so that's sort of twofold with ourselves and with others is one, just be kind.
Mm.
If we experience trauma or we're working with people who've experienced trauma from a natural disaster or an accident or the loss of a loved one, we just need to be kind to ourselves and be kind with others and empathize. It's not really the time to share opinions or give advice. It's just to listen non-judgmentally and just be present with them. Texting that person and checking in on them is important. Also, ensuring that their basic needs are met. Again, the things that we do to help ourselves are the things we do to help each other. So food, water, shelter, clothing, housing, helping them restore a sense of normalcy and a sense of routine. So just texting them at the same time each day, maybe visiting them. And then secondly, providing with them with some concrete information to get help. Again, it's not about providing advice. It's about providing them resources and information, and then helping them make decisions or be able to navigate those resources. A lot of times when people experience trauma, they can be in what we call a brain fog or even in shock. And so they may not be able to make decisions. You may need to say, do you need me to go with you to this appointment? Do you need me to go with you to the shelter? And so it's just some very simple tasks that we're all familiar with in our life, but oftentimes we don't think of those things explicitly when helping people. So
Now, Paul, I know that our extension offices have great resources. Do we have any resources on trauma?
we do, Kristi. We've recently developed a four-part series because of some of the natural disaster from the tornadic events that you all experienced in December, in addition to just the horrific flooding that we've also seen in Eastern Kentucky. So we've developed that four-part series that focuses on understanding trauma, coping with trauma, helping others deal with trauma, and then how trauma really affects our brain and affects our bodies.
Right. If you would like to access those resources, be sure to contact your local extension office and we will get those to you. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.